We're alive. I have nothing else to say today. But we're in the study of the book of Job. And today, last week, if you were brave enough to go through that with us, we went through like 15 or 16 chapters to get through the whole midsection of Job, which is just the back and forth conversation between the friends. This week, we're going to do the fourth and final friend that just kind of shows up in this conversation with Job, and his name is Elihu. And there's a lot of commentaries. There's about as many ideas about who this guy is as there are commentaries. So he seems to be, because he rebukes basically everyone there, but he is gentler about it. He rebukes the friends and he rebukes Job also, but he's respectful in his rebuke, especially to Job. And he seems to be sort of the best idea that I heard was he's kind of sort of like a John the Baptist character. He speaks right before God. So he comes in and sort of says some truth. He sort of lays down the truth right before God comes in. So I don't know. You guys can, play with other ideas. And if you guys have some revelation, feel free to jump in and let me know your thoughts. But because he hasn't been in the narrative at all, he just kind of shows up all of a sudden. And he's the youngest one, which is interesting too. He's the youngest one of the men who are speaking. So, but I have some ideas, and I'm really going to try. There were some things I was thinking about. I'm going to really try to bring this into like real life application, if I can. So we're starting in chapter 32. So these three men ceased answering Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. So what that means, this is the comments, the Septuagint says this line differently. It says that he was righteous in their eyes, and that they essentially had no answer. After Job did his final dissertation that we went over, the other three friends basically had nothing else to say. So they were sort of silenced by his last speech, by Job's last speech. Then the wrath of Elihu, the son of Barachel the Buzite, of the family of Ram, was aroused against Job. His wrath was aroused because he justified himself rather than God. And against his three friends, his wrath was aroused because they had found no answer, but yet they had condemned Job. So he's going to rebuke Job for justifying himself, and he's going to rebuke the friends because they were just basically being abusive. They had no real answer to him. They were just, being abusive towards him. Okay, so here's a note. Buz, the Buzite, like he was a Buzite. Buz was a land near Uz. Uz and Buz were two brothers of Nahor, the brother of Abraham. So there's a lot of back and forth. Nobody knows exactly when Job lived, but it was probably around the same time of Abraham. But this text was written down before Moses wrote down, because Moses came years after Abraham. So, because remember, there's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and then Joseph goes to Egypt, and then they're in Egypt for 400 years before Moses shows up. So Moses is the one who writes the Torah, the Genesis and Exodus and all that. So they might have been somewhat contemporaneous, but this text is definitely written down long before Moses wrote the Torah. Okay. All right. Let me just get through this, and then I'll try to get into my my idea that I had this week. Now, because they were years older than he, Elihu had waited to speak to Job. When Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, his wrath was aroused. So Elihu, the son of Barachel the Buzite, answered and said, I am young in years, and you are very old. Therefore I was afraid, and dared not declare my opinion to you. I said age should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But there is a spirit in man, and the breath of the Almighty gives him understanding. Great men are not always wise, nor do the aged always understand justice. So yes, that should encourage everyone, I think, especially you guys in here, because I consider y'all in this room young, obviously. So he will speak. This is my note. Yeah.
Sorry.
Um.
I was laughing at
So
you. I was laughing at
yeah. Kids. So yes. Hold on one second. Just okay. So Elihu says he will speak with courtesy to Job, even though he rebuked him for justifying himself. His rebuke to the others is more sarcastic, but he doesn't speak from his personal experience. He speaks from the Spirit of God. So Elihu is actually not drawing from his personal experience because he's young. He's literally filled with the Spirit of God. He is speaking from the Spirit of God. Wisdom only comes from God, and he can give it to the young as well as the old. He has a role similar to John the Baptist, a forerunner to God showing up in the story. Okay? So let me share 1 second. Caffeine. Let me share with you guys because he's going to go into this rebuke of Job for justifying himself. And there were things that I was thinking about because I talked about a little bit. I kind of touched on some things that happened in a similar time in my life to this. Obviously not the same, but similar. Like, it's like I think a lot of us have some sort of time in our life where we relate a little bit to Job. It's like when you feel like everything crashes down at once. Well, so, and as I was thinking about Job justifying himself, a lot of things started coming to my mind. And then I had the task of trying to figure out how to tell this story without also sinning, without also justifying myself, And so I've kind of chewed on this all week. And I don't really know how exactly, except for just to say it, and the Lord knows my heart, the Lord knows my heart. But not going into everything. There's one part of this story that I felt like was probably the easiest to talk about. So there was, during that time when I mentioned last week, and my whole life felt like it crashed down around me, and I was going through like the dark night of the soul. There was a particular girl who had come in, and I had, and wasn't the only time I had done this, and it wasn't the only person I'd done it for. But I had really taken her in as a daughter. I mean, I took her in as one of my own because she needed it. She was basically destitute. She didn't have a place to stay that was safe. And so we took her in. I drove her back and forth to college. I bought Christmas gifts for her. I mean, I literally treated her the same as my own kids. And I brought her in and taught her everything that I knew. And I spent a lot of time ministering to her and just being, including her in the family. So fast forward to when all this happens, the way I have described it to people before is that I was surrounded by sharks and I didn't realize it. It's like, sometimes it's not until you're wounded and you're down when you realize who the sharks are. And so when I was wounded and there was blood in the water, so to speak, like if you imagine sharks, when there's blood in the water, all the sharks that are around all come in, and it's a feeding frenzy. They all come in at once. Have you ever seen like on Shark Week or something, they all come in at once? So because I had allowed people close to me that I did not realize were sharks, But boy, did I find out. I found out in a very painful way. And it was all at once. It was literally all at once. And it's just a big life lesson. And that's a whole nother story. It's just a big life lesson of who not to, it's like you have a circle, and there's in that inner circle, you just don't let everybody in. That's just what it comes down to. So I had, taken this girl in, and during that time when everything fell apart, you guys know that the dance theater group was it was therapy for me. It was very therapeutic for me. I loved it. I got so much out of it. And this girl very, very meticulously dismantled it. And she had, and I hate telling that. One of the reasons I don't ever tell this story is because it's embarrassing, because the tactics are so juvenile that I don't even like telling the story. It sounds like middle school drama, and so it's embarrassing to even admit being a part of it, So I don't even tell that story very often. But anyway, it was one of those times when there was, the secretly pulling students away and starting your own thing. And, it's like all these lies and, all this stuff of like, oh, I wanted to surprise you. And I didn't care. I mean, I truly didn't care, because I wasn't doing that. I mean, if they wanted to do a different thing because it was competitive and stuff, I was like, you can do that. I truly don't care. And so then I taught her how to do it. And when she would go through hiccups and stuff, then I would help her. And I was like, no, this is what you need to do. This is how you do it. So I basically taught her, not realizing it, how to destroy this ministry. And she did. She destroyed it. And so that is an example of, okay, so when I was in the darkest part of my, I was depressed about every single thing that had happened, because that was just one of many, many things that happened all together. It was like, whoop, similar to this story, that it all happened together. It was just everything fell. And for me, justifying myself would be similar to, and I had basically done that at times, but I don't think I did it in defense to God. Not that I remember, although there's things I don't really remember, because when you're in pain, you don't remember everything, when you're in that much pain. But justifying myself would be something like, but I did all this stuff, and I had, it's like I did all this stuff for her, and here she does this, but I did this and this and this and this, and I can't believe, do you know what I'm saying? Which all that was true, and believe me, I thought it a couple of times, but I don't think that I ever railed against God in that thought process. I don't think I ever railed against God. Does that make sense? But I did justify myself to myself. I mean, I did, so I was trying to think of a way that I know that we all at times have probably done the same thing. It's easier to try to personalize it and kind of modernize it, because we think of Job and it seems so far away and distant, So, but that is an example of justifying yourself. But I did all this stuff. Like I was in the right. I did this, and this is unfair. This is unfair. This is unfair treatment. So it's like I shouldn't be treated this way because I have not done anything wrong. Does that make sense? Okay. So I thought a lot about this week about how I was going to be able to like say that and not again justify myself and sin as, in doing so. Okay. So verse 10. This is Elihu. Therefore I say, now he is a young man filled with the Spirit of God. Therefore I say, listen to me, and I will also declare my opinion. Indeed, I waited for your words. I listened to your reasonings while you searched out what to say. I paid close attention to you, and surely not one of you convinced Job, only answered his words. Lest you say, we have found wisdom. God will vanquish him and not man. sorry. Okay. Now he has not directed his words against me, so I will not answer him with your words. They are dismayed and answer no more. Words escape them. And I waited because they did not speak, because they stood still and answered no more. I also waited my part. I too will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. The spirit within me compels me. Indeed, my belly is like wine that has no vent. It is ready to burst like new wineskins. I will speak that I may find my relief. I must open my lips and answer. Let me not, I pray, show partiality to anyone, nor let me flatter any man, for I do not know how to flatter, else my Maker would soon take me away. Were you trying to say something?
No.
Okay. You looked like you were about to.
No, never mind.
Okay. So he's basically saying, I am going to be objective. I'm not going to flatter anybody. I'm not, it's like I'm speaking the words of God. Does that make sense? Okay. But please, Job, hear my speech. Now, he's going to say some hard words, but he says it in a more respectful tone.
I just find this, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I find it funny that he compares his thoughts to the thoughts being contained in new wineskins with no vent. Just like you can't put the new and the old wine in the new wineskins.
I hadn't thought about that until you mentioned it, and that's actually a very good observation.
I thought that too, but then I was confused because I was like, you can't put it in the old wineskins because it would burst, but if you put it in the new wineskin, it bursts?
No.
That's where my brain was.
No. So wine, they would put grape juice in a new wineskin, and as it would ferment, it would stretch out the wineskin. It would stretch out the wineskin. So then you'd empty it out once it was fermented.
But if you put new wine into old, like the old can't expand any further,
and it would break. So it's an analogy to the new covenant versus the old. When Jesus himself said you can't put the new covenant into an old wineskin, it will break. So he was comparing that to the new covenant versus the old covenant. Which I guess while we're here, we can do I need to go back to your question right now or no?
Whenever you want.
Go ahead.
I don't want to throw it off.
It's okay because we're already paused. So go ahead.
I don't think that's what he's talking about right here. I think he's just comparing his feeling, like his words, like he wants to say them so bad, like they're gonna burst out of him.
Right.
I don't know if he's actually comparing it in the same way.
I don't think so either, but I found that's the only other reference.
Yeah.
Cross reference to that
analogy,
so
that visual.
What is it?
Yeah.
I'm just finding it interesting.
Yeah.
So Catherine had asked me before we started that she had asked me about the fact that how would they have known in this time period? Like, how would Job have known? How would Elihu had known that they were not supposed to? Weren't they supposed to justify themselves by their righteous deeds? Because they were supposed to do, make the sacrifices, make the offerings, which the Mosaic offerings. Hold on, let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought. Like, hold on.
This is what y'all been saying.
This is what I asked
before we ever started.
No,
this
that's
class.
what I asked last week.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. And you said I didn't speak up last. No, that's what I got mad
never
about.
said that.
Okay. So in the book of Hebrews, we were discussing this a little bit. In the book of Hebrews, it talks about how the Old Testament prophets were justified by faith. That their justification has always come by faith and not by works. Because Abraham was justified because he believed. Not because of what he did, because he believed God. Because he trusted God. I think it's because we have such a shallow understanding of the word believe and what that means. Like Abraham trusted God. When God said, I want your son back, the one that you've waited all these years, the promised one, the one I told you that was going to be your lineage, that the Messiah was going to come through, you have to be willing to give him back to me. Because Abraham believed God's word, and the word was the Messiah was going to come through that line. And so for him to walk out obedience through the act of being willing to give Isaac back to him, that was an act that was birthed out of his faith, out of his belief. He knew when he acted this out, he told the two friends that were with him, wait here and I and the boy will return to you. And which, by the way, he wasn't a boy, he was about 30 years old. But we will come back, we will return to you. So Abraham believed, he's like, I don't know how you're going to do it, God, but he believed that Isaac would somehow be resurrected. That if the Lord asked him to do this thing, that Isaac would be resurrected.
But wasn't Abraham special?
What
God
does
didn't
that
just speak
mean?
to everybody.
Nobody's
in that time frame.
special.
No, but it is in that time frame because we get the Holy Spirit now, but they didn't have that then. It was around, but it wasn't to everybody. So Abraham was essentially special. He could hear God different than other people.
He wasn't the only one that could, because we see there's an example right here with Elihu and Job.
That's true.
Both of them they had an ear to the Lord, and just because
they don't have the Holy Spirit the way that the church does.
Right, the Holy Spirit would come on, would come and go, come and go, rest and go. Right.
But not the way we have the Holy Spirit all the time.
All the time.
That's why it's not the same.
But it didn't seem like it rested on everybody in this time frame.
Yeah, I think what Kat's saying was that like Abraham and them heard God differently than the normal people. Like God didn't talk the same way he talked to Abraham.
But not because
that he talked to
Abraham was
everybody.
special, it's just because God.
He was chosen.
He was chosen.
Right.
That's special.
But not by anything he did.
Right.
He was just born that way.
Well, we're chosen in other ways. You know what I'm saying? He was chosen for the Messiah to come through his line, through his lineage. He wasn't the only person on earth that God said, hey, I have a relationship with you. He was special in that he had that covenant was given to him. And then it was reestablished later with David.
But it's not
So,
by anything he did. Like, he didn't earn his...
Through works. It was through faith. It was because he trusted. He trusted God. I guess if we would exchange the word believe for trust, I think it would make more sense for people. So because he trusted, he trusted God with his life. He trusted the Lord's promise. If the Lord said something to him, he trusted that was going to happen. Does that make sense? You guys are struggling with this.
He literally tells them, follow the law so that you can be protected.
Right.
There's no law yet.
That's
not
true.
for Abraham.
There's no Mosaic law. Right. There's no Mosaic law, but there was some sort of established pattern of worship.
There was because of Melchizedek, because Abraham offers a tithe and offering to
and even Cain and
This
Abel.
is in Abraham's time frame?
Probably.
Yes.
So this is before Moses, before the Ten Commandments, before the law.
Yes.
Right.
I asked this weeks ago. Oh, no, because you gave me a different answer.
Maybe I'm just expanding. I'm just expanding on the answer.
No, because this totally just changed everything I thought I knew.
Okay.
It's fine, we're fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What's on your mind
Also,
over there, Mariah?
I had one more.
Mariah's
It's
contemplating.
It's off subject.
No,
I don't want to throw it off.
We're already off.
We are off. We are off. Go ahead.
Are you not making conjecture that Abraham just knew that whatever God was going to do, like, oh, he'll bring back my son? That feels like conjecture to me.
Okay,
No, based
he
off the word
said
that was
he
given about
said
the
that.
son.
Yeah.
He said he must, since through Isaac will come all these generations, all the descendants, he must have a way to bring him back from the dead or provide another sacrifice. He trusted that there was, because it was coming through him. He wasn't going to just be gone. He knew must be something.
He could have slept with some woman and there had been a baby that all of a sudden things come through.
But that did not happen.
Correct, but I'm just saying it seems conjecture-y.
No. It's from the scripture, from what the scripture says.
I see.
You agree with who?
Okay.
You guys. I think she
Yeah.
was like, we'll be back.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
We will be back.
We will be
Me and
back.
the boy.
We will
Yes.
return. Yes.
See?
He knew he was talking about long enough.
That's
to
why I
know.
asked the
I need
question.
to know.
I love
did
it.
want to point out
Lordy
one more
mercy.
thing about Job's friends, since they've been
Clarity.
really railed on. They've been really railed on Job's friends. But in the very beginning of Job, they came and they mourned for 10 days.
No,
and they
that's
did.
because it was
Seven.
like that was like a tradition.
Friends
Yeah.
were not required to come for
When-
all that time, because where's everyone else?
I still don't know who Job is.
What?
You don't know who Job is? He is, okay, I'm glad you asked that, because I thank you for asking
What?
that.
Wait,
But
were you
Job,
here the first time? Wait.
All I know is
he's a dude having conversation with friends.
Oh.
Oh.
You don't know that
Okay.
he's lost all of his family?
okay, so let me,
Oh, no.
hold on,
Really?
hold on.
Just snapshot the beginning.
Let me snapshot the beginning.
right.
Snapshot,
Snapshot it.
everybody, snapshot? That's what I said.
Okay.
Well, don't, look, stop.
She is.
What?
Okay.
All right, the snapshot is Job was a righteous man living probably around the time of Abraham. We don't know exactly.
Just a random dude.
Yes.
Like,
Righteous man.
Well, they're all right.
And the opening of the book of Job is a conversation between Satan and God.
okay, say that again.
The opening of the book of Job is a conversation between Satan and God. So God is in his, heaven. There's all these council of angels. Satan is among them. And God asks Satan, says, where have you been? Like, what have you been up to, basically? What have you been doing, Satan? And he says, roaming around the earth. And he's, how Satan does, looking who he can devour, basically.
Snapshot, Mom. Snapshot.
I am snapshopping.
Okay.
Whatever. Anyway, so y'all, that throws me off. Anyway, so then now I'm all thrown off.
So
He's roaming the earth.
Okay.
So
Satan.
for someone to
So
devour.
Satan is having a conversation with God because God asked, "What you up to?" He's like, "Oh, your people, they love you. It's crazy, but they only love you because you do all this for them." And he brings up the case of Job, who is a righteous man who's done no wrong in God's eyes and is well favored.
Well,
says that.
God
says,
brings
have
up
you
Job.
got
I got
Job.
to ask, who heard the conversation? Someone just downloaded the fact that
We don't know.
that God talked to.
We don't know.
That's
It's
like-
a good
That
question.
is a good
It's
point.
a good
This is
question.
an allegory. None of this happened.
That's not
No, no,
true.
it's not.
Oh my
No.
gosh.
Can't say that.
Well, someone had to hear this conversation or write it down or
Okay.
God,
Can
put
I
it in their
say-
brain.
So
But God talks
God-
specifically to Job at the end of this book.
right,
So God speaks directly to Job.
God's
So
gonna come
it's
in a
probably
minute.
Revealed.
Yes.
The full story is revealed either to
Yes.
Job
Yes.
at
Job
some
wrote Job.
point.
Pro-
Yeah.
probably.
But
It could have.
we
He
don't
could
know,
have.
though.
He could have.
We don't know
know.
exactly, but it was revealed. I mean, if God speaks directly to Job,
Mm-hmm.
it was revealed to. So
Okay.
all Scripture is inspired by God. So God gives the story.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
There you go.
God and Satan have a conversation, and then
Satan
God's
was like Job only trusts you and loves you because you protected everything he has, and he's super wealthy and all this
what, so
stuff.
then God just screws him up?
No,
He
God
allows
allows
Satan to.
do it. So Satan takes all of his wealth, all of his children,
Then
and afflicts his body with all these boils, gives him gingivitis,
That's the worst thing.
all
you got.
this stuff. He pretty much, or
He's pretty much a
halitosis,
rotting corpse. He's a rotting living
he's
corpse.
suffering for for nothing that he did wrong.
What?
It's just to
prove a point. God's
Because
proving a point to
Satan
Satan.
says
to Satan that he will not deny me. He will
So
worship me.
The point
He's having
is.
a good spot in heaven.
Hold on, right? So the point is that Job finally gets the revelation that he needs a mediator, because he's like, how can I have a court? I need a court appointed time before God. But how can man be before God? Because God is up there and he's so much better and higher than we are.
Right.
I'm just a man. I need a mediator. So
And-
there is a revelation that there needs to be a Messiah. There needs to be
Up
a
until this
mediator.
point, though,
Okay.
their
Yeah.
friends, the friends are like, you must be a sinner. You must have brought this upon yourself.
That's why they're talking crap to him?
Yes.
They're talking crap like, no, you're a
Yes.
sinner, you're a liar, something.
You're
like,
a hypocrite.
You're a hypocrite. Something's
You had to
wrong
do
with you.
something.
You brought this upon yourself. And Job said, no, I've done nothing. And starts to make himself, like last week, he kind of put himself in the place of God. Like, I was a father to the fatherless. I was eyes to the blind. And, like, I helped the lame.
I
and,
did
like,
all this stuff.
I've
This
done
is
all this
unfair.
stuff. So
Yeah, I
he
know.
elevates.
Yeah.
He starts to elevate himself a lot. So he's starting to get self-righteous.
Mhm.
So, okay, so is that a good rundown?
Yeah,
For the
I
back
should
and
have
forth
asked
to
weeks
get-
ago. I just thought I'd figure it out eventually.
I'm glad.
Point out that you come.
of all books to be hanging back and be like, I'll figure this out at some
But
point.
his friends did come, was my point.
Yeah. They did.
So, right
But
now,
they
that's
did
low.
to gloat. They came to
Did
gloat.
they?
Yes.
Or did they come?
I
and
think
then,
they
you know,
came
friends,
to
you
gloat.
have friends how they speak
Don't
before
be
they
weird
think,
about
and they say things they assume that they know, and
Right.
they haven't sought God out. That's what makes me wonder.
Sorry.
Like, are these
It's okay.
are these friends just lacking complete wisdom and care for Job? Because we're kind of presenting it like they don't, but that's why I'm like.
But also,
I know we're splitting hairs because that doesn't.
where are
matter.
these laws and rules that they're supposed to abide by? Show me
There's
them.
somewhere Miss Eunice went back in Genesis and told us this.
No, it
There's
makes
somewhere
it makes
because
a
some-
All right, we
vague
gotta reel it
reference.
in. We gotta reel it
It
in.
makes a vague reference to Melchizedek and his laws.
Well, they know.
Hold on a minute.
Job knows.
Let's reel it in. Can we please?
Verse 14.
Okay. Are we on 14?
No, we're on Job 33.
What?
Job 33.
I
Yeah,
didn't
we're on
remember
Job
page.
33.
What? Wait.
Yes, we are.
Chapter
okay.
33.
Chapter 33.
Oh,
But that's all valid, especially if there's anybody who hasn't, who's literally tonight
Jumping
be
in.
like, what is going on? And I hope that clarifies things a little bit. Okay, so chapter 33, this is still Elihu speaking. But please, Job, hear my speech and listen to all my words. Now I open my mouth and my tongue speaks in my mouth. My words come from my upright heart. My lips utter pure knowledge. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. If you can answer me, set your words in order before me. Take your stand. Truly, I am a spokesman before God. I also have been formed out of clay. Surely no fear of me will terrify you. Because remember, Job had said in the past, he's like, the Lord will, it's like, please don't terrify me with your presence. And this Elihu says, okay, well, no fear of me is going to terrify you. Nor will my hand be heavy on you. So this is a comment. Elihu is going to map out how Job's view of God has changed from platitudes to depth and finally to enlightenment.
What? And a not new age thing. How? Let's be careful about that.
Okay, he's.
Not that. Surely you have spoken in my hearing, and I have heard the sound of your words, saying, I am pure without transgression. I am innocent, and there is no iniquity in me. Yet he finds occasions against me. He counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in stocks. He watches all my paths. Look, in this you are not righteous. I will answer you, for God is greater than man. Why do you contend with him? For he does not give an accounting to any of his words. For God may speak in one way or in another, yet man does not perceive it. So this is a comment. This is the comment. We tend to perceive this experience as unanswered prayer, without taking into account God's timing and his style. He answers in ways we don't expect. Examples are with Elijah. When Elijah encountered God, there was the earthquake, the mighty wind, and then the still small voice. The still small voice was the way God spoke. Many times he answers in seed form and we don't see it. This is the thing that I have said before. It's like he answered.
This makes me feel like what I did this morning.
Really?
Yeah, when I texted you.
Yeah.
I was like,
yes.
I was like, if God even gave me a dream, I wouldn't remember it.
Yeah.
You said rebuke the demonic, and then wham, I remembered the dream I had.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I should
Yeah.
have known. Surely you've spoken.
Yeah.
I missed it somewhere.
Yeah.
Instead, if I don't
Yeah.
know, like, go ahead.
Yeah. You're right. But one of the ways that God answers in seed form is that when a lot of times he answers in the form of a baby, it's like for example, in Moses, when Moses was born, the people were enslaved in Egypt and they were crying out for a deliverer, and the Lord sent Moses and he was delivered, and they were, the Pharaoh was making them throw their babies into the river. And so Moses was saved through the reed basket and all that. And he grew up to become later the deliverer for the people. And that whole thing took 80 years to actually transpire. But I know it was a long wait, and that's hard for us. You know what I'm saying? It's hard, but to think that he has not answered the whole time when he has, he answers in an organic form. He answers with a seed, and we don't see it, we don't understand it, we don't perceive it. It's got to grow. Moses had to go through his trial. Everyone that the Lord has a special purpose for goes through their desert, goes through their wilderness, their cave wanderings, because the Lord has to put them through the refiner's fire before they can be entrusted on their path. He does it with every single person that he has a purpose for in Scripture. So another thing is that when during the times of Christ, when there was a time when the Pharisees and the Sadducees, before Jesus came on the scene, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they lost the ability when Rome came in. Rome took away their ability to enact capital punishment. So in their perspective, from their perspective, they had lost their rule, like the rule before the Messiah came. And so there is historical account of the Pharisees dressed in sackcloth and ashes, going around the city saying, woe to us, for the scepter has departed from Judah and the Messiah has not come. Because that was prophecy. And they were like, the scepter has departed from Judah and the Messiah has not come. However, Jesus had come. He was a child. So he was a child during that time, and he came on the scene later. They didn't realize that he had come. And then when he comes into Jerusalem, they reject him anyway. They don't recognize who he is, and they reject him anyway. So they didn't perceive him when he wasn't standing in front of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Wasn't there's a whole bunch of people when she had the baby that was like, this is the Messiah, he's a baby.
Not
Yeah.
No one, there weren't Jews, none of them, not a single one.
They were magi.
The shepherd boy, the shepherds. The shepherds.
But they were shepherds.
Yeah.
They were like being a shepherd was a lowly position.
Very low position.
It wasn't a
Humble.
position that they like a testimony they would say this is a credible person.
Right.
You
How
know?
the heck they find out then?
That
That's a different question.
the angels told
The angels
shepherds.
told them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's what that is. When we perceive these things as unanswered prayer, but a lot of times we just don't understand God's timing, his method, and the patience. So, verse 15. He's just so cute. He's so cute. Okay, verse 15. In a dream, so he's going on with the explanation. In a dream, Madison, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while slumbering on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction, in order to turn man from his deed and conceal pride from man. He keeps back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. Isn't that crazy?
Let me paint that.
Oh,
I'm gonna paint this.
do it.
Oh my goodness.
You
The
should.
Lord has kept my life from the pit for sure. Thank
Yes.
you, Lord Jesus.
So he does speak through dreams. And a lot of times he does that to us to conceal pride from men.
Yes.
You know, it's when we...
Because it was when I said, I was like, I'm... It was literally... Go ahead.
Yeah,
whatever, I'm done.
right.
I'm done. I'm so overwhelmed. You missed it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
How the Lord speaks in dreams and visions of the night when the deep sleep falls on men. It's because we shut down.
Keeps his soul from the pit.
Yes, and he seals in our instruction. So I remember, and I'll tell this story too. When I had a dream, I've had a couple of dreams where God spoke to me. Not very, like maybe two off the top of my head. It was two. And the first one was I woke up. It was years ago. And I woke up and I was like, God spoke to me in this dream. I was like, he actually audibly spoke to me, like with words, which doesn't always happen, right? And as soon as I woke up, man, it was gone. And I couldn't remember what he said. And I was so mad because I couldn't remember what he said. So I was like, I can't believe God spoke to me and I can't remember what he said. I mean, it was like, that seems like an important thing. Well, that week, I found out I was pregnant with Mariah. And I fell apart. My first response was mad tears and saying, call Lakeside. And it's like, I'm coming to Lakeside.
I'm glad to know that you
I was,
excited.
you know the story.
Look, that was me with Dorothy.
It was really, yes, it was, I mean, you know, there's time. I was not prepared. Anyway, there was a lot of reasons. I was not prepared, but I was so terrified. Literally in the midst of my teary breakdown, that dream came back to me in a flood, like, boom. You know how when you remember a dream, all of a sudden it comes back to you? The dream came back to me in the flood, what he said was, he was telling me that I was pregnant and he knew I was scared, but it would be okay.
That's a wonderful testimony.
Isn't that great?
I didn't do anything.
I know, but you said
That's so cool.
She was scared because of what you did.
I know, that was so horrible. I know that. I'm not even ashamed. But that's cool.
It was, yeah, that was the first time that
God
I
was
had,
like,
that I remember.
I need to make Mariah.
Seal
but
it. He needs
you're
to
gonna be-
seal
It's
instruction.
not gonna be okay for a minute.
Yes,
But
he
I'm
would.
gonna tell you about it before.
Yes. So he had to seal that instruction in my spirit because he knew it was coming and he knew that I was going to just completely freak out. So but then you know what happens when God confirms something? You just have peace. I mean, if he just gives you peace and you're like, well, okay. At the time, I didn't even have health insurance at that moment because your dad had just changed jobs. I mean, it was just a lot. It was a lot going on at that time. So anyway, but obviously we all made it.
So look at you now.
I know. Look.
Whenever I found out I was pregnant with this one,
Uh-huh.
I had a dream like the month before.
Mm-hmm.
So I really thought I was pregnant. And me and Jordan have been trying. We wanted another one.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought I was pregnant. And then I had a dream, and God told me to take another test. And so I was like, it's not time yet. It's early. I don't know. And Jordan was like, well, if God told you to take another test, go take another test. Took another test. It was negative. And so that made me even more sad. And I was like, I just don't really understand what you're trying to tell me. I'm just a little confused. So I'm just going to try and practice listening to you because I don't know what's going on. And then the next month is what I found out I was pregnant. So I guess it was just in a different way.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love you. It's just so... It's
Sorry. I didn't mean to say it like
No, it's
that. I just didn't know
okay.
how to respond.
It's okay. There's just such sweet... that when the Lord... And he really is... I feel like he's really gentle with women. we're going to find out when he answers Job that it's terrifying. When God shows up and answers Job, it is terrifying. Okay, so here we go. Where am I at? Verse 19. Man is also chastened with pain on his bed and with strong pain in many of his bones. so that
for me.
No.
I mean,
so that his life abhors bread and his soul succulent food. His flesh wastes away from sight, and his bones stick out, which were once not seen.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I ain't seen a bone in a long time.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was to lose weight. Okay.
Okay, anyway.
Joke.
No.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to lose weight. Oh Lord. Okay, get with the
Okay.
Alright.
Yes, his soul draw nears the pit and his life to the executioners. So it's the comment, God also speaks through pain. He does speak through pain. It's like spanking a child. You know, it's like sometimes it's a spanking. You don't want one from God. Trust me. You don't want one from God. If there is a messenger for him, a mediator, one among 1,000, to show man his uprightness, then he is gracious to him and says, deliver him from going down to the pit. I have found a ransom. His flesh shall be young like a child's, and he shall return to the days of his youth. So this is the comment. The gospel is clear in clear view. This is speaking of being born again, a born again experience by way of a ransom and a mediator. This is a born again experience. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
He shall pray to God, and he will delight in him. He shall see his face with joy, for he restores to man his righteousness. Then he looks at men and says, I have sinned and perverted what is right, and it did not profit me. He will redeem his soul from going down to the pit, and his life shall see the light. Behold, God works all these things, twice, in fact, 3 times with a man, to bring back his soul from the pit, that he may be enlightened with the light of life. Give ear, Job. Listen to me. Hold your peace, and I will speak. If you have anything to say, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Hold your peace, and I will teach you wisdom. Elihu further answered and said, hear my words, you wise men. Give ear to me, you who have knowledge. For the ear tests words, as the palate tests food. Let us choose justice for ourselves, and let us know among ourselves what is good. For Job has said, I am righteous, but God has taken away my justice. Should I lie concerning my right? My wound is incurable, though I am without transgression. Okay, comment. Part of Job's problem is that he sees God as unjust, unfair, and unwilling to explain what's going on.
I mean, you can't blame the dude for being frustrated.
You can't blame him.
No.
You can't
Still
blame him.
human.
Yes, you cannot blame him for being frustrated. Exactly.
That's what been
Yes. Yes, and he feels like this is unfair. I mean, he's like, this is unfair.
How many days has it been since all this happened?
Several months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What man is like Job, who drinks scorn? What?
His friends were with him for several months?
No.
No, but like the children and all that dying first happened first, and then.
Yeah, when they
I thought
hear
it was
about
back
it.
to back to back in the same day.
They did, but the friends didn't show up that day. They show up later. They hear about what happened, and they conspire to meet together and then come see him.
I mean, for his body to be like a corpse,
Right.
it takes a hot minute for it to be like that.
Right.
So they probably thought he was on his deathbed. They came, did the 10 days and whatever.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
means they didn't come for a funeral.
I guess.
Well, they were no. It's just ironic that it was actually 7 days. The seven days of mourning and silence was a statutory funeral practice. They would mourn for 7 days in silence.
So they were mourning for Job.
They were mourning for Job.
Like not actually his children, but literally for him.
Right. So he was like a dead man in front of them. So they were mourning for.
And
That's
then
just yeah.
It was like hospice.
Yeah, like hospice. Yeah. Okay, what man is like Job, who drinks scorn like water, who goes in company with the workers of iniquity and walks with wicked men? For he has said, it profits a man nothing that he should delight in God. Dang. Like, what good has it done to serve God? Whew. So here's the comment. What advantage is it to behave? I might as well have sinned. Satan's goal was to get Job to curse God to his face. To do that, he had to get Job to mistrust God, to feel like he's been treated unfairly. God intervenes in time to keep Job from that final step.
I feel like that happens a lot.
Yes.
Like, especially people who like grew up Christian and stuff, and then all this crap happened to them.
Yes.
They're like, why am I gonna do this?
Yes.
And then they go on. And they
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Lord, so we had talked before about the refiner's fire and how the metal worker has to stare and watch as the metal heats up, because if he lets it go too long, it'll be destroyed. That's literally what God does. Like, he watches the heat rise. He watches Job, all the dross coming to the top, and he steps in right before it's destroyed. Isn't that interesting? So he intervenes right before Job does that final step. And that's when God steps in, right there before he's destroyed altogether. Whew. Okay. Therefore, listen to me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God to do wickedness, and from the Almighty to commit iniquity. For he repays man according to his work, and makes man to find a reward according to his way. Surely God will never do wickedly, nor will the Almighty pervert justice. Who gave him charge over the earth, or who appointed him over the whole earth? If he should set his heart on it, if he should gather to himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh would perish together, and all man would return to dust. Man, all he'd have to do is take it back. Whew. If you have understanding, hear this. Listen to the sound of my words. Should one man who hates justice govern? Will you condemn him who is most just? Is it fitting to say to a king, you are worthless, and to nobles, you are wicked? Yet he is not partial to princes, nor does he regard the rich more than the poor. For they are all the work of his hands. In a moment they die, in the middle of the night, and people are shaken and pass away. The mighty are taken away without a hand. For his eyes are on the ways of man, and he sees all his steps. Therefore no darkness nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves. For he need not further consider a man, that he should go before God in judgment. He breaks in pieces mighty men without inquiry, and sets others in their place. So the comment is, God knows our thoughts even before they take shape. Interesting. I was just talking about that dream that I had about, and he knows our thoughts. That's a perfect example. I didn't even think about that. But he knew what my response was going to be when I found out I was pregnant that time. So he knows our thoughts before they even take form.
Because he doesn't exist in past, present, or future.
He's outside of the timeline. He's outside of the timeline. So here's Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word on my tongue, but behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. That's Psalm 139. Verse 25. Therefore he knows their works. He overthrows them in the night. and they are crushed. He strikes them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned back from him and would not consider any of his ways, so that they cause the cry of the poor to come to him, for he hears the cry of the afflicted. When he gives quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hides his face, who then can see him? Whether he is against a nation or a man alone, that a hypocrite should not reign, lest the people be ensnared. For has anyone said to God, I have borne chastening, I will offend no more? Teach me what I do not see. If I have done iniquity, I will do no more. Should he repay it according to your terms, just because you disavow it? You must choose and not I. Therefore speak what you know. So here's the comment.
Okay, dude.
Oh,
I'll clean it.
okay.
I'm not worried right now.
Okay. She was like, I'll clean it, whatever.
It has a waterproof thing on its bed.
Cool. Okay. God, okay, here's the comment. God has given us free will. God has given us free will. The smartest thing we can do is give it right back. Okay? So God is extremely serious about free will. This is one of the things that people struggle with. Why does God let this happen? Why does God, if God is good, why does he let this happen? I'm telling you, he will not intervene in free will. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because he wants us to choose him openly. Now, he will intervene in our lives personally. He'll intervene in our lives personally when we, speak and ask. But he does not intervene. He doesn't stop men from enacting their free will. There's a very divine reason for that, and he's serious about it. So a lot of the things that we attribute to God is not God. It's usually us. I mean, there's demonic, there's Satan, there's all that stuff, but we don't need help being evil. I mean, people choose evil all the time without any help from demonic stuff. Verse 34. Men of understanding say to me, wise men who listen to me, Job speaks without knowledge. His words are without wisdom. Oh, that Job were tried to the utmost, because his answers are like those of wicked men. For he adds rebellion to his sin. He claps his hands amongst us and multiplies his words against God. Okay, here's the comment. Job wants to do right, but he thinks he can do it by his own efforts. The most difficult lesson that God would teach us is to see evil in what we think is good. Our best is as filthy rags. This is one of Job's lessons. Our best is as filthy rags. Romans 7 says, I find then a law, that evil is present with me, the one who wills to do good. For I delight in the law of God according to the inward man, but I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. Perhaps the reason for this trial was to teach us about the ugliness of self-righteousness. It's the self-righteousness. It is ugly, and that's the one thing. That's one of the big lessons for Job, and he probably didn't even realize it was there until he was in that fire. But oh my goodness, like you said, we're human. You don't even realize you have pride until you're down. And for me, y'all, that lesson for me, when I was in my dark night of the soul, pride can come, there's two sides of a coin, okay? Pride can come as in the form of being a victim. Being the consummate victim and having a victim mentality is pride. It's ego. This is not fair. It's not fair. It's been unjustly done to me. And that's the thing so pride, it can come in two ways. It can be, I'm better than everybody else. It can also be, I'm worse than everybody else and the whole world is against me. Both are pride. Do what?
Some people got a big issue with that one nowadays.
They absolutely have a big issue with that nowadays. And so this is like confession night for me because I'm trying to make it applicable. But for me, that was the thing I had to deal with was that side of it, was that feeling so unfairly treated. Because in my mind, in my eyes, the things that were happening to me were completely 100% unfair. And so, it was nothing I did to cause any of this. And I was being unfairly treated. So I had to come to the end of my own ego and the end of my own pride, and had to put that, guess what? I had to put that at the cross. It's a hard thing to do. It's really hard when truly bad things have happened. It's really hard to do, is to, put it at the cross. Oh.
You didn't have to do that, Mariah. Oh, that's the part of the thing. She brought it in here. She left it.
The pee blankets. We'll deal with pee blankets later, hun.
I have a...
It's a mom thing. Oh, man.
Oh, I remember the dates.
Oh. She's just in the midst. It's coming in the midst.
I almost put that on Dorothy's bed, and I'm glad I didn't.
You have to laugh. Sometimes you have to laugh. Lord help the moms.
Why is it the 9-year-old son that still needs it? He doesn't pee his bed, but he'll just throw up in the bed, or
Poor throw up in the bed. I think, you know what? Speaking of, I think that's why, one of the reasons why when the Lord speaks to wisdom, Freudian slip, when he speaks to women, he's very gentle, is because we're the ones having to deal with that. He's gentle with us. Yeah. Thank you, Lord, for being gentle.
We have a heavy load, a mental load.
It's a heavy load, man. Okay. Not the guys. I'm not. You know what I'm saying. Not that guys don't have their things. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. I don't mean at all that. I promise. Different things.
We are weaker.
Yes. Where am I at? 35.
Yourself.
Okay. 35. I love you. We're being gentle. God is being gentle.
I'm not even joking.
Gentle.
I'm not even joking. I can't talk about it until this is off.
Okay. Sorry.
Thanks.
Sorry. He's being gentle with the moms. Okay. Moreover, Elihu answered and said, okay, we're on Elihu. Do you think it is right? Do you say my righteousness is more than God's? For you say, what advantage will it be to you? What profit shall I have more than if I had sinned? Whew, I know. I will answer you.
Now
and
we see the fault.
Yes, and your companions with you. Look to the heavens and see, and behold the clouds. They are higher than you. If you sin, what do you accomplish against him? Or if your transgressions are multiplied, what do you do to him? If you're righteous, what do you give him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness affects man such as you, and your righteousness a son of man. He's basically saying you're not doing anything to or against God. You're affecting laterally here. Laterally. Okay, he is saying that God will be God no matter what you do. 9. Because of the multitude of oppressions, they cry out. They cry out for help because of the arm of the Almighty, but no one says, where is God my maker, who gives songs in the night, who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of heaven? There they cry out, but he does not answer because of the pride of evil men. Here's a comment. Men cry for help, but they are actually calling for relief from the painful effects of their sin. And then they return right back to sin. They are really trying to use God, which is the reason for his silence.
No, I catch myself doing that sometimes.
Me too.
Like, I'm
Me
like,
too.
Oh my gosh, why am I still doing this? Knowing that I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm like, okay, I can't keep asking you for help knowing that I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, I'm sorry. I know it's me.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time. All the
Constantly,
time. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And then I have to stop saying I'm sorry. I was like, I can't even tell you I'm sorry because I'm going to keep doing it. So,
That's why Paul encourages me. It's like,
Yeah.
what I don't want to do,
That's what I'm doing. What I do want to do, I don't do. What a wretched man I am. Yeah. Surely God will not listen to empty talk, nor will the Almighty regard it. Although you say you do not see him, yet justice is before him, and you must wait for him. And now, because he's not punished in his anger, nor taken much notice of folly, therefore Job opens his mouth in vain. He multiplies words without knowledge. 36, Elihu also proceeded and said, bear with me a little, and I will show you that there are yet words to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and I will ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One who is perfect in knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty, but despises no one. He is mighty in strength of understanding. He does not preserve the life of the wicked, but gives justice to the oppressed. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, but they are on the throne with kings. He has seated them forever, and they are exalted. And if they are bound in fetters, held in the cords of affliction, then he tells them their work and their transgressions, that they have acted defiantly, and he also opens their ear to instruction, and commands that they turn from iniquity, if they obey and serve him, that they shall spend their days in prosperity, and their years in pleasures. And if they do not obey, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. But the hypocrites in heart store up wrath, for they do not cry to help when he binds them. They die in youth, and their life ends among the perverted persons. That word I just put in there, perverted persons, actual means ritual sodomites, because sodomy was just a common practice for pagan rites and rituals. He delivers the poor in their affliction, and he opens their ears in oppression. Indeed, he would have brought you out of dire distress and into a broad place where there's no restraint. And what is set on your table would be full of richness. But you are filled with the judgment due the wicked. Judgment and justice take hold of you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is he saying you didn't even cry out to God for help? You just justified your righteousness? Is that what he's saying here?
I think
they did not cry for help. When
he's still talking about men and hypocrites, men in general.
Don't even cry out when they are bound by him.
Right. He's talking about how men act. Yes.
So self-righteous people don't cry to God for help in their suffering.
Yes. That's how I see it. Yes.
Not that when you're suffering, you just have to suffer and not ask for help.
Right.
Do you think that that's what Job did?
Well, he just says, I'll pray. He doesn't ask the Lord for help. He just wonders
he's asking to be justified.
He's like, justify why this is happening.
Why? Yeah. His question
never,
over and over was why. Why? He was crying out for justice. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I had to.
Yeah.
I got caught right there, and then you kept reading, but my mind was still there. Go ahead.
Okay. Because there is wrath, beware lest he take away with one blow, for a large ransom would not help you avoid it. Will your riches or all your mighty forces keep you from distress? Do not desire the night when people are cut off in their place. Take heed, do not turn to iniquity, for you have chosen this rather than affliction. Behold, God is exalted by his power. Who teaches like him? Who has assigned him his way? Or who has said, you have done wrong? Remember to magnify his work, of which men have sung. Everyone has seen it. Man looks on it from afar. Behold, God is great, and we do not know him, nor can the number of his years be discovered. For he draws up drops of water, which distill as the rain from the midst, which the clouds drop down and pour abundantly on man.
It's talking about evaporation.
It's talking about the water cycle.
And
the oldest book of the whole. Yes. That's why there's a lot of science in the book of Job. It's talking about the water. Oh no. Oh no.
We'll rub his nose in and pop him with the newspaper.
Y'all are not helping.
He's so cute.
He really is
either.
cute.
That does not help either.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't
All of Facebook Live gets parenting.
I know the parenting happening.
Nothing works. Just pray.
I know. You just survive it, really. You just survive it. Eventually they grow up. All right. So yeah, that's why I underlined it, is because it's the water cycle in the oldest text of the Bible.
Literally.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, water cycle.
Do what?
It's a different kind of water cycle.
Oh, going on back there. Yeah. Indeed, can anyone understand the spreading of clouds, the thunder from his canopy? Look, he scatters his light upon it and covers the depth of the sea. For by these he judges the peoples. He gives food in abundance. He covers his hands with lightning and commands it to strike. His thunder declares it. The cattle also concerning the rising storm. And at this also my heart trembles and leaps from its place. Hear attentively the thunder of his voice and the rumbling that comes from his mouth. He sends it forth under the whole heaven, his lightning to the ends of the earth. After it a voice roars. He thunders with his majestic voice, and he does not restrain them with his voice when his voice is heard. God thunders marvelously with his voice. He does great things which we cannot comprehend. For he says to the snow, fall on the earth, likewise to the gentle rain and the heavy rain of his strength. He seals the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. The beasts go into dens and remain in their lairs. From the chamber of the south comes the whirlwind, and cold from the scattering winds of the north. By the breath of God, ice is given, and the broad waters are frozen. Also with moisture, he saturates the thick clouds. He scatters his bright clouds, and they swirl about, being turned by his guidance. There they may do whatever he commands them on the face of the whole earth. He causes it to come, whether for correction, or for his land, or for mercy. Listen to this, O Job. Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. Do you know when God dispatches them and causes the light of his cloud to shine? Do you know how the clouds are balanced, those wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge? Why are your garments hot when he quiets the earth by the south wind? With him have you spread out the skies, strong as a cast metal mirror? Teach us what we should say to him, for we can prepare nothing because of darkness. Should he be told that which I speak? If a man were to speak, surely he would be swallowed up. Even now men cannot look at the light when it is bright in the skies, when the wind has passed and cleared them. He comes from the north as a golden splendor. With God is awesome majesty. As for the Almighty, we cannot find him. He is excellent in power. In judgment and abundant justice, he does not oppress. Therefore, men fear him, and he shows no partiality to any who are wise at heart.
Oh my gosh, I'm keeping this packet.
Keep it. So that
It's been my favorite one.
that is Elihu. Okay, so is basically the John the Baptist of this book. He lays down some truth and he gets their heart ready, because that was the job of John the Baptist, was to prepare the hearts, prepare the way for the Messiah. So he's getting their hearts ready because God's about to speak, and the first thing that God's going to say is, brace yourself like a man, for now I will ask you the questions and you'll answer me. And that is a terrifying thing
Got
to
chills
be.
down my leg.
It is a terrifying experience to be in the presence of God. Terrifying.
And we're gonna have to wait a whole
Wait, so that's what's gonna happen?
2 weeks. Do what?
So that's what's gonna happen next.
That's the next thing that's going to happen. And by the way, next week we have a community event, an Easter egg hunt, basically there's an outreach event in the park, and then after that is Easter, so it'll be a couple weeks before we get to that. So I'm sorry, it's going to be the pause to be continued the next season. But if you love dinosaurs and science and dragons,
What on
it's
Easter?
gonna
Yeah.
the next time we do what?
That's Easter.
Or if y'all want to meet, I just
We don't
figured.
wanna might as well meet after the Easter egg hunt if we're gonna meet either on one of the two. It makes more sense to meet
We're not
next
gonna
week
meet.
than
Okay, it's up to y'all.
Y'all
I was
not
just-
do this.
I was assuming that next week was gonna be too much for y'all.
I don't care about doing it on Easter, but y'all don't have to. Wait
I don't mind
because
about
of us.
Easter. Maybe not next week, but the week on Easter.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll discuss.
I don't know
We'll
either.
discuss. We'll discuss. One way or another, there might be a pause. Everyone will get it. There will be a pause. But man, the best is yet to come. Man, the end of this book is so good. So good. So don't miss it.
Yeah, I finally
What's
understand
wrong
what's
with this
happening.
red
I'm sorry. She's like, I finally understand what's going on. Okay, if you go back and you read the first like 2 chapters, you get the background. All right. Till whenever we come back again. Love, love, love. Thank you guys. I hope this is good for everybody and you're following along. Love.